Yeah, we do it all together. Kevin's parents live down by
What are we talking?
so Thanksgiving they come here. We're gonna
I gotcha.
Yeah, so we
Sorry,
get to do
I
one,
was
which
distracted.
is nice.
I guess you can watch the trains.
Too much. Especially the same day. We used to do that when we would come home from DC
Oh, really? Bam,
at the
that's all
beginning,
it
and then we started putting it together. So.
He's gonna do it.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic.
He didn't know anything. I had no idea what he was talking about, but he said he would take care of it.
Okay, good. I told Shelby I'd play it as long as all I had to do was literally play.
Right.
That's what I got.
Listen, all I got is the countdown is on time. So,
I'm impressed.
first
All I
time.
need for a good meeting. That's all we need.
Yes. Yep. Okay. So speeds go a little tricky sometimes.
It's good to be on that side, right?
Hey, Susan, is Ashley doing both public hearings? Okay. All right.
That's why it feels like it's actually fun, right? It rubbed off, that's good.
Ready to go? Are we synchronized?
We are synchronized.
It's a special gift for your last meeting.
Still never got a theme music.
I let you down.
It is always a big issue. And it goes to 20 seconds when that goes to 20 seconds. Maybe it goes to 15.
15.
It's my first time, but look at me. I got it
I
synchronized.
can win you that case if you get in trouble.
So, I'm in good shape.
What I heard is you're not in charge. That's what I heard. Just saying.
Let's put that on my list.
Good evening. I'd like to call this Tuesday, December 17th, 2019 meeting of Middletown City Council to order. Please stand and join me in a moment of meditation and the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our first item this evening is a couple of public hearings. The first, map amendment.
Call roll.
Oh, roll call. Thank you. Thank you. So we're ready to go.
He's only been doing this for a little
I've
while.
only been doing this for a little while. Exactly. Thank you. Ms. Skank, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Vittori.
Here.
Mr. Bohannon.
Here.
Mr. Moon.
Here.
Mr. Mulligan.
Here.
Mayor Mulligan.
Here. All right. Now our first order of business is the two public hearings. Ms. Combs, a map amendment case 419.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. This is a map amendment case 419, a request by applicant Joshua Lyles with Apex Engineering and Surveying on behalf of the property owner, Middletown Fuel Services LLC, for a map amendment to rezone the property located at 1407 Winona Drive from R3 Residential Zoning District to B2 Community Business District. The property is a total of 0.28 acres. So here you're looking at the property that is proposed for rezoning. Here is an overall zoning map. Again, the property is zoned R3 medium density residential. The surrounding properties are R3 residential to the north is existing residential, R3 to the east, again, existing residential, B2 to the west, existing business, and B2 to the south, which is currently the gas station owned by the property owner. Here's just an aerial showing you, again, the property is located there at Winona Drive, the intersection of Winona Drive and Verity Parkway. This is the gas station that I was referring to that's also owned by the property owner. The property that we're talking about is right behind this property. The master plan, per the City of Middletown's master plan, the property is located in the Hookfield Development Opportunity Area. Per the map, it's identified, this property specifically is identified as neighborhood preserve and enhance. Per the development code requirement, legal notice was sent to all property owners within 200 feet of this property, and the following comments were received. All were anonymous. 1, there's a lot of drug activity from the gas station and underage illegal consumption. We frequently see adults buying underage children alcohol from the gas station. They do not monitor their customers. 2, I've owned my home since 1985, and the gas station is very close to my home. There's a lot of noise that comes from the gas station and the drug activity. I upkeep my property and just did repairs to my home. Had I known the expansion was occurring, I would have not done these upgrades. The existing home that they want to use for the expansion has had a lot of heroin dealing nearby. I ask you to strongly not consider approving this zone change. I will be seeking legal counsel. The Planning Commission recommendation. The Planning Commission recommended denial of the map amendment for the property located at 1407 Wynota Drive due to the zone change not meeting the review criteria outlined in the Middletown Development Code. Specifically, again, I'm going to read it. The Planning Commission noted that the zone change does not follow the master plan's recommendation to preserve and enhance the existing residential neighborhood. The expansion of the gas station further into the residential would create adverse conditions by adding more traffic impacts and would be a detriment to the surrounding residential homes and neighborhood. In there, what you see behind, under this is just the map amendment criteria that the Planning Commission reviews every time that they have a map amendment. And that concludes my staff report on this.
All right, any questions for Ms. Combs? Okay, we want to do a public hearing first, and then we'll do the second case. Very good. All right, with that, I'll open the public hearing. I'll ask if there's anyone to speak in favor of the proposed map amendment, case number 419. Anyone to speak in favor of? All right, is there anyone to speak in opposition to the proposed map amendment? Anyone to speak in opposition to the proposed map amendment? All right, hearing none, we'll close this public hearing. And we'll go on with our second public hearing for this evening. Text Amendment Case 3-19, Ms. Combs.
Okay, text amendment case 3-19, Planning and Zoning Division's Middletown Development Code. Consideration of text amendments to the Middletown Development Code pertaining to Chapter 1212, Historic Preservation, Chapter 1226, Review Authority and Procedures, and Chapter 1230, Definitions. I read the request. The text amendments are being done so that the city can be recognized as a certified local government through the State Historic Preservation Office and National Register. Planning Commission's recommendation of approval of these text amendments is being forwarded tonight to the City Council for final review and decision. Here's some background. Planning staff have been working over the last year on obtaining the certified local government status for the City of Middletown through the assistance of the State Historic Preservation Office. The proposed text amendments have been reviewed multiple times by the state office, various city departments, Historic Commission, and Planning Commission. In order to become a designated certified local government, it is required that the city have a historic preservation ordinance designed to protect historic resources and structures. It is expected that the historic ordinance will offer guidance to those wishing to make changes to historic buildings, sites, and within historic districts. There must also be a procedure for identifying historic properties by which they can be surveyed and recorded, designated locally, and nominated to the Historic National Register Historic Places. The CLG status will encourage public participation program which invites and encourages citizens to participate in the community's historic preservation. By becoming a certified local government, the city will be eligible to apply for special funding grants that assist identifying and evaluating significant historic properties, reviewing and submitting nominations to the National Historic Places, producing preservation education materials such as booklets and brochures, and assisting with the update of the city's historic preservation plan. The CLG designation will attract developers and those wishing to redevelop historically designated properties. The state of Ohio receives annual appropriations from the Federal Historic Preservation Fund. The state is required to give at least 10% of their funding to CLGs as grants. The grants can fund a variety of projects, including surveys, National Register nominations, rehabilitation work, and design guidelines. As a CLG, the city will have direct access to the Historic Preservation Office staff with the assistance of our Historic Commission, building assessments, surveys and nominations, and journal assistance. State staff and National Park Service offer regular training opportunities for CLG communities. Once designated, the SHPO, which is State Historic Preservation Office, will designate a CLG coordinator to assist the city with learning the processes and answering questions regarding the CLG status. The proposed text amendments to the historic preservation chapters and sections of the Development Code fulfill the State Historic Preservation Office's requirements of pledging that the city will protect and educate about the importance of historic places. It is anticipated that the city will hire a historic district coordinator position in the first quarter of 2020. The position will maintain the city's CLG status and will work with the public to ensure that they understand that they are in city historic districts or have a landmark designated property. It is expected that the position will provide assistance with helping residents and businesses understand that the historic review process and procedures, as I just said. Once the certified local government designation is obtained, the city's historic preservation plan will start the process of being updated. The Planning Commission, Historic Commission, and City Council will have an active role in reviewing the updates to that plan for adoption. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the text amendments to the Middletown Development Code pertaining to Chapter 1212, Historic Preservation, Chapter 1226, Review Authority and Procedures, and Chapter 1230, Definitions. Just a little shout out, we did have the Historic District Specialist position posted on Friday, so if you know anyone that would be interested, please share that with them. Sorry if I'm a little muffled, I'm getting over a cold too, so hopefully you get over it.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Combs, council?
Just one comment. From time to time, I do hear from property owners and from the Historic Commission. I think they're looking for a little more clarity and maybe a little more help. And if we just as an organization could be a little more proactive in informing business owners of their obligations under historic codes, when they're purchasing, that may go a long way just to bridge that miscommunication gap.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much, Ms. Combs. This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone to speak in favor of the proposed text amendment case 319. Anyone to speak in favor of? All right, is there anyone to speak in opposition to the proposed text amendment case 319? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. And we'll move on to our comments this evening. First I have is Mr. Marlon Stiles and Mr. Randy Bertram from the Middletown City School District. Good evening. If we get your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Marlon Stiles, 1 Donham Plaza, 4th floor, Middletown, Ohio, 45042.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us tonight. Tonight I just want to share just a few bits of information around some recent legislation that is having a devastating impact on Middletown City School District and public school districts across the entire state. Specific to Middletown City School District and the 2019 report card that came out of the state of Ohio, we are celebrating that 5 of our elementary schools have an overall letter grade of a B for value added. We're also celebrating that we have 1 elementary with an overall report card letter grade of a B. And our high school, Middletown High School, has a graduation rate of 91%. That's important information to note. We also are celebrating that we have a cash balance of over $20 million, and we are fiscally stable over the forecast that was approved by our Board of Education back in May. With the recent legislation changes to House Bill 166, specifically around Ed Choice Voucher Expansion Program, we will see a devastating impact as a result of this legislation on our overall budget, leading us to be making over $1 million in reductions as we enter into next school year. And for the first time in our forecast, we are anticipating the need for an actual levy, all due to recent legislation. The essence of Ed Choice, as you find in your fact sheet for the district, you can read some of the facts. Basically, students that are enrolled or are attending in an attendance zone of a public school district that meet the criteria for designation for Ed Choice status, or as the state legislators would say, failing schools, are designated eligible for school vouchers. This voucher allows you to receive public funds in the amount of $4,650 for elementary students and $6,000 for high school students to take general fund dollars from public school districts and go attend private schools, and those vouchers will help pay for tuition. So you now see the devastating impact this can have on a public school district. Specifically, as a result of Ed Choice vouchers over the FY19 and FY20 school year, Middletown City School District saw $598,000+ in FY19 in vouchers, And we also saw in FY20 the amount of over $1 million in vouchers leaving our school district and going to private schools to pay for tuition. Out of those entire vouchers, 340 Ed Choice vouchers out of the entire school district, a total of $1.4 million are for private school students who have never, and I emphasize never, attended the public school district and Middletown City School District. They've never stepped foot, never registered, and never planned to attend our public school district. But the voucher structure is paying for their private tuition in the amount of $1.4+ million over FY19 and FY20. I come to you today to urge you to begin advocating on behalf of our city and our district. As we have said before, as the city goes, the school goes, and as the school goes, the city goes. We celebrate that we have a bright future and a bright past. I can tell you that this devastating impact of this legislation will begin to diminish and lessen the brightness of that potential future. I share with you tonight 3 key areas and recommendations that we have for state legislators, and I urge you to contact legislators across the entire state for these 3 advocacy efforts, specifically as it relates to students who are already attending private schools. There was some legislation and recently in the biennium budget, House Bill 166, that allows students at the high school level who are in the attendance zone to automatically qualify for the voucher of an Ed Choice school without particularly attending. I'll skip a lot of the details. A solution that we are asking legislators to consider is to reverse the change in House Bill 166 language and state that a K-12 student is required to attend a public school for 1 full academic school year prior to applying for an Ed Choice voucher. Area number 2 is the default choice program. There are 2 voucher programs in the state of Ohio. One is an income-based Ed Choice program. One is also the state report card performance of their building that designates them as Ed Choice. All this information can be found in the fact sheet. I'll skip a lot of the information as it relates to this, but basically the way the current legislation is written in House Bill 166, if a student qualifies for both the state report card performance voucher and also the the income-based Ed Choice voucher, the state automatically qualifies a student for the building performance voucher, which means that we as the public district pay for the voucher. Where if a student did qualify for the income-based Ed Choice voucher, the state would pay for that. So we are simply asking for a solution from our legislators to replace the current default mechanism in Ohio law to make the income-based voucher the default when a student qualifies for both voucher programs. Last but not least, the third area is related to a report card letter grade criteria that is already established. It is funny, I emphasize the word funny, that in House Bill 166, there is legislation that calls for complete report card reform from both the House and the Senate. Funny. But in that same House Bill 166, there is legislation that also calls for the expansion of the Ed Choice voucher program, all based around the letter grades of said report card structure. Funny. Tonight, we are actually advocating that the legislators across the state of Ohio consider that any school with an overall letter grade of an A, B, or C should not be eligible for Ed Choice designation. We're also asking that the K-3 literacy component should be removed from eligibility criteria, as it is data that represents the subset of a subset. Think about that mathematically. Last but not least, we're asking that any school with an overall letter grade of a D or an F would only be designated for Ed Choice if they earn a D or an F in both the performance index and the value-added components of the report card. A lot of technical pieces in that last piece there, but it's all based around the report card. What I can share with you tonight in closing, that out of the entire Ed Choice vouchers that our district currently has, 90% of those vouchers are for students that have never attended Middletown City School District. We believe in choice. We respect choice. We are very much in favor for students and families having choice. We just simply ask our state legislators to respect us as well as a public school district and allow our dollars to support the needs of our students in our public school district. I encourage you to contact our state legislators, our local legislators, and begin advocacy efforts, our Board of Education, our administration, our management, as well as our staff across the district, are continuing advocacy efforts across the entire state. We encourage calls, letters, emails, meetings, face-to-face advocacy of any way, shape, or form that you possibly can. I know that is a lot to throw at you in a short period of time. I normally talk a lot slower and clearer. I try to talk fast so we can stay within the 3-minute pieces. If you have questions, happy to entertain those. You can also find a lot of this information in our fact sheet located on our district website.
Okay. All right. Well, appreciate you coming down this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next card I have this evening is from Mr. Kent Keller II. Good evening. If we get your name and address for the record, please.
Kent Keller, 2nd, 2040 Wellington Road. I came to speak about the fuel pump issue that's coming up, I guess, later. But in regards to the, real quick, the ed choice, I support ed choice. My kids go to private schools. I went to private schools. A lot of the council members here went to private schools. And the district does not have money. The district has our money. You have my money. This whole building has no money. You have the taxpayers' money. And I believe the parents should choose where their children go to school. And unless you don't trust the parents to make the best decisions for their kids, then you shouldn't have anything to worry about. But anyway, on the fuel pump vote that I guess is coming up later on, the $150,000 to $200,000 investment that's coming up. Regarding that, I would like to just quickly read this paper here about from the FAA. I pulled this off of their website today, FAA.gov. The forecast showing optimism for general aviation. On the general aviation side, the FAA's latest 20-year forecast, 2019 to 2039, calls for U.S. fleet of those aircraft to increase at an annual rate of 0.1%, with an estimated decline of 17,500 fixed-wing piston aircraft over that time, which is what this pump would be servicing, dragging down projected annual growth of turbine aircraft and other segments of more than 2%. And I've been emailing back and forth with some of the council members. I appreciate your replies. That from what I gather, the city is making projections off of previous sales and using some after-hours transient sales. The problem with that is most fixed-wing piston pilots do not travel at night because of the inherent danger of one engine failing and not being able to see the ground. I think it's foolish to think that a self-serve tank will increase sales beyond what the existing sales already are. Mr. Talbot replied to me last week and said that they expect fuel sales to be lower next year. So my question is, why would we invest money in a market that's declining, not because we don't have a fuel pump? Does anybody ever drive to a different city to fill their car up with gas? No, you get fuel that's on the way to your destination. Installing this new fuel pump is not going to increase any sales. So I would like to recommend to council that they table the issue and let the next elected city council vote on it. I believe this past election was a message from the citizens that our city is headed in the wrong direction and things need to be put on pause. I'm not saying things need to be canceled. I think there's a lot of confusion and people want to just step back and look at, what is this project? What is this? As I talk to people through the city, I say, did you know about this? Did you know about that? And they're like, no, I didn't. And I don't really like the sound of that. So I think it would be wise for this council to not vote on the new fuel pump funding and to let the next council handle the issue in January. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next card I have this evening is from Mr. Dan Tracy. Good evening. If we get your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Dan Tracy. I live at 4921 Oaks Court, Middletown, Ohio.
Good evening.
I graduated from Middletown. I've lived in Middletown for a long time, probably 25 years. I think everybody that's on this council deserves be commended for their services because it's not a non-gratitude service with the public. They don't realize what you go through. I do. I know you got to make tough decisions and decisions that some people like, some people don't like. you've made one that I don't really care for. The bank building on the corner, from what I understand, we're going to pay $28 per square foot when the going rate in this town is between $4 and $10. I think if we're going to pay $70,000 to the owner, which his track record is not that good in this town, if you just look across the street, you can see what he's not done. And I think $70,000 would be a lot better used in another police officer on our street, or another fireman, or even put it in our streets. This is something that should be tabled or withdrawn if it can be, because I don't think the taxpayers of this city, the ones that I've talked to in the last week or so, from what I understand, the city's kind of upset. The people are upset about the city spending this kind of money when it doesn't need to be. I would rather see that bank building sit there another 5 years empty than to see us spend that kind of money frivolously on something that we could put to better use. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down this evening. All right, next card I have this evening is from Mr. Daniel Tryon. Good evening. If you get your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Daniel Tryon, 6147 State Route 122, Middletown, Ohio.
Good evening.
Thank you for a couple minutes this evening. I've had the privilege to serve in this community for a couple of years working for Kettering Health Network, and you've got a lot of difficult decisions to make. As mentioned before, some people support, some people against. I don't have any opinions to share this evening other than I understand that this is the last council meeting for Mayor Larry Mulligan and Steve Bohannon, and I wanted to say a heartfelt thank you. I know it takes a lot of listening, a lot of patience, a lot of sacrifice. Appreciate your example and everything you've done in this community. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you joining us this evening. All right, and the last card I have this evening is from Mr. Doug Atkins. Good evening. If we get your name and address for the record, please.
You can. It's Doug Atkins, 4500 Rosewood Court, Middletown, Ohio. It's weird to be on this side of the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening. Today's a very sad day for me. On your agenda tonight is resolution number R 2019-49, a final resolution to terminate my employment with the city of Middletown. I've worked longer for the city of Middletown than I have worked for any other employer in my career. I'm sad to see that employment end, and I'm sad to see it end in this way. We have accomplished so much together. I'm sad that I won't be around to finish the work to bring the city back to prosperity that we started together 5 years ago. I'm not here tonight, however, to complain. I'm here to say thank you. Thank you to the city of Middletown and its residents for employing me for more than 14 years. Thank you for trusting me to be your assistant prosecutor, your city prosecutor, your community revitalization director, and thank you for allowing me to serve as your city manager for the past 5 years. Thank you for allowing me to successfully complete my original 5-year plan to bring the city back from the recession to sustainable revenues. To all of our civic, educational, and nonprofit partners, thank you for your ongoing partnerships with me over the years and your untiring participation in time and funding to make Middletown a better place to work, live, and play. To Rick Pierce, Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce, and my friend Marlon Stiles behind me, the school superintendent, thank you for meeting me for breakfast each month to share your wisdom and guidance as we worked on ways to collaborate to make business, education, and municipal government work collectively to improve the city. To the business community, thank you for believing in Middletown and for new investments approaching $1 billion over the past several years. Your investment in workforce has resulted in record revenues for the city in each of the past 3 years, and those record income tax receipts produced the highest general fund balance that we've ever recorded in Middletown. Those additional funds have allowed us to start the process of catching up on deferred paving and quality of life issues that have been long ignored. And finally, thank you to my staff. When I took over in 2014, I had a staff that had been worn out by the Great Recession and years of budget cuts. The city operates every day with 100 to 130 less employees than similar cities like Hamilton, Kettering, and Springfield. I told my staff in 2014 that I intended to completely change the way we do business, and I asked them to follow me. And our employees have busted their butts for me for 5 years. If I have had success as a city manager, it is most certainly due to the employees that serve under me. They are exemplary in every way. As we conclude our business here tonight together, I hope that I have left the city in better shape than when I took command in 2014. I hope that the new council and the new city manager can build on past successes. I wish for nothing but success and prosperity for the city moving forward, and I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next order of business are city manager reports. Ms. Cohen?
Yes, sir. Have good items to pass along. Got a visit yesterday from the city of Beaver Creek that wanted to publicly thank the city for sending some officials up to Beaver Creek to help with the recovery efforts from their tornado. They provided us with a lovely proclamation and some tokens. I believe you were given coins at your seats tonight, and they wanted me to convey their thank you and gratitude for allowing our crews to go up and help them clean up from your tornado efforts. It was great to see some of our public works employees honored in that way. It's not a group that traditionally gets to see a lot of accolades, and I want to thank you and them for going up to do that hard work for the city. My next item of business, as you are well aware, we are set to take over the FBO operations at the airport on January 1. This is just the beginning of work to further the development at the airport and showcase what a great asset Middletown Regional Airport is for the community. In furtherance of those efforts, we have a new video I would like to give you a sneak peek of that we will be premiering this week on our social media and being pushed out to the media. So this lasts about 3 minutes, and I think has some great information on the airport.
This is just the beginning. This is the beginning of the resurgence of the Middletown Airport. 3, 2, 1.
Middletown Regional Airport has tremendous aviation infrastructure we want to take advantage of. And as more and more companies, organizations, and entities around the state and the country find out about what we have here, more opportunities are coming. Everybody's excited about what we're trying to do here. We've got a lot of development opportunities, and we really want to make the most out of it. The future for Middletown Regional Airport is boundless at this point. The opportunities we have because of our current infrastructure, the commitment from the city, from the community to see what we can do with this, it's just a real opportunity. We've got acreage we can develop, we've got runways, we've got taxiways, and we've got plenty of opportunity to put up additional hangars. So from that standpoint, it's a blank slate, and I think that's what everybody is most excited about. We can really determine where this thing can go.
If you're looking at the city of Middletown, you have to look at Middletown Regional Airport. We're really excited about the opportunities that Middletown Regional Airport presents, not only for the city of Middletown and Southwest Ohio, but the entire region of this country.
Is poised for something special. It is poised for maybe magic. It is poised for maybe pride. And that's everyone having a lift in a hand into making that belief, that potential absolutely come true. We all play a key part in that. I'm excited to be a part of that, selfishly speaking. I get goosebumps just thinking about the potential that the city has and this community has. More importantly, I'm just proud to say that I see people from all walks of life, regardless of title, position, who we are, where we come from, where we live at. I'm just proud to say that I see people rising up together to make the city of Middletown something pretty special in this world. If you're looking for potential and innovation, if you're looking for a community that is hungry to be successful and to wrap their arms around your family business, the city of Middletown is a place to be. We definitely have newly discovered potential that we are maximizing right now, and it's a community effort. Now is the time. Now is the time. If you wait, you'll miss out on the opportunity of a lifetime.
This community is doing economic development, and they're looking at attracting or retaining companies and international companies. The fact that they have an airport, and they have an airport that has a runway with 6,000 feet, is going to be a huge asset that they can present to the company when they're talking to them about what Middletown has to offer.
Middletown Regional Airport is central to the journey.
Middletown Regional Airport is central
to the journey.
The Middletown Regional Airport is really central to the journey.
Thank you for indulging me on
Please,
that.
yeah.
I think it's a great piece. They've done a wonderful job with it, and we're really excited to see what happens. So you'll start to see that information get pushed out here this week. On a sad note, we would like to take a brief moment, and I promised the mayor it would be very brief, to recognize some members of council who are celebrating their last meetings with us tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Vice Mayor Moon for the rest of the presentation, but I did want to say on behalf of the staff and the city and myself, thank you to you both for your years of service. It's been invaluable to all of us, and we appreciate all you've done.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll go in alphabetical order here, and as is our tradition, we like to recognize our outgoing council members. So Steve, if you wouldn't mind coming up first. And just personally, just want to say it's been a pleasure getting to know you and know your family. As Dan said so well, we get all the blame and very little of the credit. It takes times away from our family and our job, so thank you to your wife and to your kids, because this does take up a lot of time, and I know you're always one of the most accessible council members, so thanks for all your service. So, we have the certificate of appreciation for you. So whereas Steve Bohannon decided to run for city council to give something back to the city of Middletown, he felt that the city had helped him to raise and educate his children, start and run a successful business, and to allow him to live the American dream. And whereas Steve Bohannon has served the city of Middletown as an at-large council member since 2016, Steve brought his many years of business experience, ideas, and perspectives to city council and has been willing to be the lone no vote on issues that he felt strongly about. Steve has exhibited the courage to take a stand and shown his heart for people for doing the right thing. The city of Middletown is grateful for his dedicated leadership. And whereas over the past 4 years, Steve and his fellow Middletown City Council members have guided our city and faced many challenges, including improved aged infrastructure, providing opportunities for decent paying jobs, continuing economic development, and road improvements. The city is heading in the right direction and is living up to its motto of bright past and a brighter future. Whereas Steve Bohannon has assisted hundreds of citizens over the years and has been very active with many organizations throughout the community and has served as a member of the Middletown Cemetery Board and the Middletown Real Estate Investors Group, representing the city's landlords. And he has also served as a board member of the Middletown Safety Commission and the Rotary Club. His dedication and hard work have positively impacted the city of Middletown and its citizens. Now, therefore, I, by the powers vested in me as Vice Mayor of the City of Middletown, on behalf of City Council, city staff, citizens, and our city, do hereby present this certificate of recognition as a token of our appreciation and wish him well in all of his future endeavors. Thanks, Steve.
I'm just going to keep it short. I've been fighting a cold. Biggest thing is I just want to thank the citizens of Middletown that put me in this position. They put their trust in me to make the right decision. I hope that those decisions that I made, some of them weren't probably in agreement with a lot of folks, but I made the decisions that I thought would be in the best interest of the whole city and not just a portion of the city. So again, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank current council. I want to wish the new council success. And let's keep the city moving forward. Thank you.
Larry, come on up. And again, on a personal note, it's just been a pleasure and a privilege to serve with you as mayor these last 4 years. We come out of this with great friendships, and it's just been an honor, and this city is certainly better off having had you as a council member and as mayor. So please know that. So on behalf of the city, I'd like to present you with the certificate of appreciation. Whereas Lawrence P. Mulligan Jr. is a fourth-generation Middletonian with family roots in Middletown that date back to the 1800s. As a graduate of Bishop Fenwick High School, Larry received his undergraduate degree in finance with a minor in mathematics from Miami University, Oxford. He completed the Ohio School of Banking at Ohio University and is a 2003 graduate of the American Bankers Association. Stoney Graduate School of Banking at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. And whereas Lawrence P. Mulligan Jr. was appointed to City Council in 2006 to fill the unexpired term of the 2nd Ward Representative. In 2007, he ran for office to be the city's first directly elected mayor in over 80 years. In November 2011, he was reelected by a large margin and ran unopposed in 2015. Over the past 12 years, Larry Mulligan and his fellow Middletown City Council members have guided our city through the worst economic storms and faced many challenges, including improved aged infrastructure, providing opportunities for decent paying jobs, and continuing economic development. The city of Middletown is grateful for his dedicated leadership. And whereas Lawrence P. Mulligan Jr. has assisted hundreds of citizens over the years and has been very active in many organizations throughout the community and has served as a board member of the Great Miami Valley YMCA, Hamilton's Core Fund, Lifespan, and the Butler County United Way. Other civic service includes the Middletown Chamber of Commerce Financial Oversight Committee in 2004 and 2005. He served on a number of nonprofit boards of trustees, including the Middletown YMCA, the Middletown Historical Society, the Butler County's Community Action Agency, and supports to encourage low-income families. Additionally, has been a board member of the Middletown Hope House for the Homeless, Preservation, Restoration, Improvement of South Main, Sorg Opera, and Wildwood Golf Club. He has shown enthusiasm and generosity in all of his endeavors and has made himself available to participate in many community functions as possible. Larry has earned the respect and admiration of all of those whom he has worked. His creativity, hard work, and energy and dedication have positively impacted the city of Middletown and its citizens. Larry's legacy of service will stand as a hallmark for others to emulate. Now, therefore, I, by the powers vested in me as Vice Mayor of the City of Middletown, on behalf of City Council, city staff, and the citizens of our city, do hereby present this certificate of recognition as a token of our appreciation and wish him well in all his future endeavors.
I asked Susan to keep it brief, so I'll keep it brief as well. I'll just extend my thanks to all council members, past and present. It has been a true pleasure to serve the city, and I look forward to its bright future. So best of luck in the future, and look forward to many great things to come. Thank you.
On top of your certificates of appreciation, I believe we do have some prints that we would like to give you as a gift of appreciation. So before you leave tonight, please take one of those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other than that, I am finished with the city manager report.
All right, very good. With that, our next agenda item is an executive session, so I need a motion under the authority of IRS Code 121.22G1 to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Kank, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bohannon?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
Ms. Vettori?
Yes.
All right, we'll be recessing to the conference room down the hall and be reconvening after our executive session.
Oh, goodness.
So when you get ready to take your prints, take the wrapped ones.
Oh.
That way you don't have to worry about your frame getting marred up.
Okay.
And I'll just take the open one
Okay.
back to the office. That way you see what it looks like.
Okay. Thank you.
Serious. That'll break a record. The longest consent.
Yeah. Always best thing of the year to do. Husbands are keeping an eye on you.
We need a motion to come out.
We do. Let me find my handy chart.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
All ready to go? Right upstairs? All right. Okay, I'd like to call our meeting back to order. Entertain a motion to reconvene our December 17th, 2019 council meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, Ms. Skank, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan.
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon.
Yes.
Ms. Vettori.
All right, our next agenda item is our consent agenda. Ms. Skank?
For your consideration this evening, we have the approval of the city council minutes from October 15th and 29th, November 5th and 19th, and December 3rd, 2019. To receive and file board and commission minutes from the Middletown Visitors Bureau from October the 21st, 2019, and the Board of Health from November 12th, 2019. To confirm the personnel appointments of Jesse Schulte to the position of Airport Facilities Supervisor in the Department of Economic Development, and Dan Dickton to the position of Airport Manager in the Department of Economic Development. Sarah Toby and Heather Deaton to the position of Senior Account Clerk in the Department of Finance, Division of Water and Sewer Administration, and Gary Ogden to the position of Part-Time Security Officer in the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police. Dwayne Rutherford to the position of Assistant Public Works Superintendent, Safety Officer in the Department of Public Works and Utilities, and Heather Helmuth to position of Full-Time Victim Advocate in the Department of Administrative Services Law Division. To confirm the promotional appointments of Sharon Rutherford to the position of Customer Relations Specialist in the Department of Finance, Division of Sewer and Water Administration, and Tyler Simpson to the position of Equipment Operator in the Department of Public Works and Utilities, Division of Street Maintenance, and David Burke to the position of Police Chief in the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police. To approve the following title and wage range changes effective January 1st, 2020, in accordance with ordinance number O 2019-83 and O 2019-84. The title change only is for the treatment plant lab analyst to the water reclamation lab analyst for Susan Woodrum, treatment plant maintenance supervisor to water reclamation maintenance supervisor for Lance Barker, treatment plant mechanic to water reclamation mechanic for John Deaton, Paul Jenna, David Kirk, and Eric Perkins, the treatment plant operator to water reclamation operator Rocky Ball, Brian Blake, Shelley Caldwell, Kevin Glidewell, Daryl Higgins, Brian McNutt, and David Vasquez. Treatment plant operator to water treatment operator Timothy Sorrell, Sarah Bontrager, Timothy Reed, Michael Hewling, Andreas Eddy, Jamie Sturgill. Treatment plant lab analyst to water treatment plant analyst Alicia Matthews. Treatment plant assistant lab analyst to water treatment assistant lab analyst Emma Jones and Amanda Gaspara. Treatment plant mechanic to water treatment mechanic Kevin Whitman and Stephen Sabota. And the wage range change only of Rob Nichols, city engineer, range 171, step G, and Zachary Barnhart, staff attorney, range 249, step C. Then we also have board and commission appointments. We're going to appoint Anita Scott Jones to the Board of Health and Environment, Joe Eisen to the Historic Commission, William Wright, Richard Sabinski, and Kristen Brandblett to the Library Board of Trustees, Charlene Kiliakis and Beth Birch to the Middletown Cemetery Board, Steve Lewis and Adam Johnson to the Park Board, and Jim Hall to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion for the approval of the issues and actions as listed on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Camp, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
Ms. Vettori?
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
All right, we have one motion item this evening to approve a bid from Performance Site Development of Fairborn, Ohio in the amount of $120,225 to remove and replace the concrete floor in the city police garage. Ms. Cohen?
Yes, the concrete floor at the city police garage, I don't believe has been replaced since this building was first opened. Over the years, the salt, the weight of the cars has just ripped apart the concrete to the point where some of the grates and things are popping up. It's causing damage to cruisers. We'd like a chance to go in and replace that concrete, get it fixed up so that we're no longer having those issues.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Cohen? Okay, I'll entertain that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Camp, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
Ms. Vettori?
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
All right, that brings us to council comments. Start with Mr. Mulligan this evening.
Good evening, Your Honor. First, want to thank the Highlands Historic District group. They had a fantastic tour of historic homes this past Sunday. My hat's off to those people who buy the homes, to care for them, renovate them, and it was good to see some young families from neighboring communities actually moving into Middletown to our unique housing stock in a great neighborhood with some great neighbors. So that, I think, is a prelude to what we will see in the Oakland Park Renaissance District, and I had the opportunity to attend their fifth and final session, and they are they presented some action items for 2020, and as far as forming a neighborhood association, they're well on their way, and they've got some many residents there who are engaged and want to affect change in that neighborhood. And it's going to be great to see over the coming years. And then I'll just I know Vice Mayor Moon made some remarks to our departing council members, but I want to express personally my thanks to Steve Bohannon. It's been a pleasure working with you over the past couple of years. I admire the fact that you always speak unfiltered. You speak plainly. You've been accessible to members of the community, and I know you serve with integrity. So congratulations on your 4 years, and best of luck with your business and family and everything that comes next. And then as far as the mayor, at the risk of eulogizing you while you're alive, I did prepare some remarks. I'll try to get through that, but I thank you for serving the citizens of Middletown with grace, compassion, humility, and generosity. When he was first elected mayor in we'll go back 12 years ago, and then a year before that, Middletown was ranked by Forbes magazine as one of the 10 fastest dying cities. Through his leadership, he saw us through some rough times. And we made some difficult decisions during this period. Downsizing of staff, privatization of certain operations, consolidation of departments, and multiple years of no wage increases for employees. These were not popular decisions. They were not easy decisions, but the residents of Middletown gave you their trust, and you earned their trust by providing wisdom and well-reasoned decisions. Fast forward to 2019, and we're going on 7 straight years of income tax revenue increases without increasing the rate of taxation. We've had over $1 billion of new commercial investments since 2011 because business leaders saw in you a capable and competent city official. The city now has a strong balance sheet, and we're able to reinvest in our infrastructure and build a sustainable model for local government in the years to come. I respect you because you saw the potential in Middletown. Your talents, education, and leadership could have taken you to any number of cities in the country, but you chose to use your talents here in your hometown, in our hometown. And how gratifying it must be
that you've led us through a difficult time, and we are now in the midst of robust growth and addressing head-on the many challenges of redefining and reshaping Middletown. You have my respect for answering the call to public service while at the same time managing a full-time and demanding career, serving on boards of multiple nonprofits, and raising a family. This sacrifice must not go unnoticed or underappreciated. To have been at the table with you, leading Middletown's comeback, has been a true honor. And to sit here as your brother and friend makes it even better. It makes it the honor of a lifetime. So, Mayor, congratulations to you on a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Bohannon?
Well, thank you, Mayor. First off, I'd just like to congratulate Officer Burke, or Police Chief Burke now, for his promotion to that position. I'd also, again, like to thank all of you on the board working with me for the last 2 years and 4 years. Mayor, I want to thank you for your 12 years on service here. You've done a tremendous job. Please carry on the work that we've all done, and I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Vittori?
I mean, I'm a sap. I can't even speak that fluently. I probably couldn't even get through thanking both of you for your time. I've really enjoyed my relationships with you guys. I didn't expect to feel such compassion and attachment, but I really have enjoyed working with both of you. And I think, Steve, you and I have done a great job of disagreeing and still being friends, and I think that's something that's sorely lacking today, so I think I've really appreciated that out of you. And Larry, you're just the picture of leadership. You're always so calm under pressure, and you do such a great job, so I will miss you dearly, but I know I'll see you. And we had great First Friday. I'll get back to what I'm best at this past week downtown, so I want to thank DMI again, and Kara, of course, for leading a really fun hot chocolate walk. We had, I think, over 1,000 kids and families downtown, and it was a really great event for people of all ages, so that was really enjoyable. And I also want to congratulate Burke as our new police chief. I'm excited to work with him and see him fill those big shoes. I think he's got the same great community outlook and relationships that are going to lead us forward. And I'd like to wish everyone happy holidays as well.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor Moon?
Yep, thank you. I covered most of my comments at the podium earlier, but I'll echo my colleagues and welcome Chief Burke as our next police chief. Look forward to working with him on the many important issues that he's going to be addressing. And then I'll just say happy holidays, and you know, I admire you both more than you know. So please do not plan on going far. We will be calling on your assistance and counsel, I'm sure, many times.
Well, thank you. Just don't call too late or too early. So how about that?
I got little kids,
or too
so
often.
I'm not
Or too often. No, it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed my time on council. It's you know, there are some trying times at times that you really make you think what you got into, but by and large, we've done some great things, and I feel we're in a good place. So change is always a good opportunity to do some things, and opens up some opportunities. So I look forward to the future, and I look forward, as I said earlier, to a bright future for Middletown. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Certainly appreciate all the support I've gotten from staff through the years. A lot of support, a lot of guidance, and certainly family support and guidance, and then certainly working with great council members through the years has been a lot of fun as well, too. So it makes it all worthwhile. So it's been a lot of good stuff. And with that, we can move to our legislation for this evening. Mr. Yoder.
Sure. So you've got 13 legislative items on your agenda tonight, nine of which are emergency measures. Staff would request that council waive the charter requirements pertaining to second readings and 30-day enactments, specifically for ordinance number O-2019-95, ordinance number O-2019-97, resolution numbers R-2019-47 through -49, and then lastly, ordinance numbers O-2019-98 through -101.
I move to waive the charter provision requiring readings on 2 separate days and to declare the previously read ordinances and resolutions an emergency measure and read one time only.
Second. Okay, Ms. Skank, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Vittori?
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon?
Yes?
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
All right, first ordinance is ordinance O-2019-95, an ordinance approving an amendment to an agreement with Venilex USA, Inc., providing for the construction of a manufacturing facility as a development project in tax exemption pursuant to the State Urban Jobs and Enterprise Zone Program and making determination in connection therewith and declaring an emergency.
Okay, do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I know we had a presentation on this last time. Anything from council or from Ms. Cohen?
Nothing additional?
Okay, with that, Ms. Kank, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bohannon?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
Ms. Vettori?
Yes.
Next up, you've got ordinance O 2019-96, an ordinance approving an amendment to an agreement with Steam Systems, Inc., providing for the expansion of a manufacturing facility as a development project and tax exemption pursuant to the State Urban Jobs and Enterprise Zone Program and making determination in connection therewith. This is a second reading.
Okay, do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Any other questions or comments? Ms. Kank, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon?
Yes.
Ms. Vettori?
Yes.
Next up is ordinance O 2019-97, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing a contract with A.E. David Company for the purchase of police uniforms and declaring an emergency.
Okay, do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Cohen?
Your Honor, we are in need of a contract for a new manufacturer for our police uniforms. We're recommending a contract with A.E. David Company. They are local. We have done some work with them in the past. They have been very successful for us. This is a total of $25,000, $353.50 over a 3-year period. It's hard to pin down that exact number because it depends on how many people we hire, how many uniforms are ruined in that time.
Okay, any questions from council? Okay, Ms. Kank, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
Ms. Vettori?
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Fourth item on the agenda is resolution number R 2019-47, a resolution authorizing transfers of the various funds and declaring an emergency.
Okay, do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Cohen?
This is one of those end of the year items we do every year, and this is a review of all of the transfers we've done between funds in 2019. So this is not authorizing any new transfers. It's a recap. It helps ease some of the paperwork for the auditors and our financial statements. So we have you go ahead and pass this every year to clean that up.
Okay. Any questions from council? Okay, Ms. Kank, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
Ms. Vettori?
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
Fifth item on the agenda is resolution R 2018-48, a resolution to make adjustments to appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Middletown, counties of Butler and Warren, state of Ohio, for the period ending December 31st, 2019, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Cohen?
You've seen some version of this a few meetings now. This is end of the year cleanup on funds. We're transferring items between funds in order to end the year with appropriate fund balances. This is a net wash. It's de-appropriating from some funds to appropriate to others.
Okay. Any questions from council? Okay, Ms. Kank, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Vettori?
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
Sixth item on the agenda is resolution R 2019-49, a final resolution of removal for city manager Douglas Atkins pursuant to the Middletown City Charter and declaring an emergency.
Okay, do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion or comments? Ms. Kank, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bohannon?
Yes.
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan?
Yes.
Ms. Vettori?
Yes.
Seventh item on the agenda is ordinance number O 2019-98, an ordinance authorizing amendments to the collective bargaining agreement with the International Association of Firefighters, local number 336, for the years January 1, 2018 through December 31st, 2020, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Cohen?
We are in the last year of our negotiated collective bargaining agreement with our firefighter employees. That agreement was negotiated in 2017, 2018. It called for a 2% cost of living in 2020. Since then, we have awarded cost of living to the majority of our employees at 2.5% for the year 2020. I'm bringing this before you with the attempt to give the firefighters what we've given to other employees. It costs about $35,000. It has already been included in the 2020 budget. We have taken some strides in the last few years to try and treat our employees same union, non-union, and whatever union they're in. So this is the other side to that, is we ask our employees to be treated equally, and it just steps up and shows them that we value them.
Any questions or comments from council? Okay, Ms. Kank, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Moon?
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan.
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon.
Yes.
Ms. Vettori.
Yes.
Eighth item is ordinance number O 2019-99, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing a contract with U-Fuel for the purchase of self-service fueling system and declaring an emergency.
Okay, do a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion or comments from council?
One question for Ms. Cohen. Is it safe to assume that if we went with full service, that we would need to hire an employee to pump gas?
There would be additional costs because we would need to be able to service someone at the airport, I believe 24/7 operational. We would need to have someone there.
Thank you.
Just, yeah, one comment about Mr. Keller's remarks. You know, this is part of a plan over many months or years to upgrade Middletown's facilities. I think we saw that in the video. You know, a new master plan's coming out. We want this to be a first-class operation, and this is just one tool in the toolbox that'll help us do that.
Thank you. If there's no other discussion, Ms. Skank, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mulligan.
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan.
Yes.
Ms. Vettori.
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon.
Yes.
Mr. Moon.
Yes.
Ninth item is ordinance number O 2019-100, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing a contract with Reliable Construction for the installation of a self-serve fueling system and declaring an emergency.
Okay, do a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion or comments? All right, Ms. Skank, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Mulligan.
Yes.
Ms. Vettori.
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon.
Yes.
Mr. Moon.
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan.
Yes.
Tenth item is ordinance number O 2019-101, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing a contract with Train US Inc. for the replacement of a chiller unit and declaring an emergency.
Okay, do a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second?
We previously discussed appropriating approximately $180,000 to replace a chiller in this building that is just non-functional at this point. We went out to look for quotes, looked at Train USA first because the controls on that system are Train and it would be more effective and less costly to install the new unit. They provided us a quote of $149,667 for the full replacement and programming through a GSA federal supply schedule, significantly under what we believe we were going to pay, and asked to approve that contract this evening.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, Ms. Skank, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Vettori.
Yes.
Mr. Bohannon.
Yes.
Mr. Moon.
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan.
Yes.
Mayor Mulligan.
Yes.
11th item is ordinance O 2019-102, an ordinance establishing a procedure for and authorizing amendments to contracts for grounds maintenance for 2020.
Okay, that's just here's the first reading, Ms. Cohen.
Your Honor, we have a bid that goes out every 3 years for mowing of city-owned properties. This works by each of our properties getting put into groups, and then the groups are bid out. We are in a year where we're extending our contracts. In the negotiations, they did ask for a slight increase. I believe over the series of the contract to be an increase of $1,150 a year. It largely is accounting for the fuel prices that have gone up and asking to recoup some of those costs. Staff didn't believe it was an unreasonable negotiation. These are paid out of various enterprise funds. Ask you to approve the new contract.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Cohen? All right.
All right, item 12, ordinance number O 2019-103, an ordinance denying a request to change the zoning classification for one parcel located at 1407 Winona Drive from R3 Medium Density Residential District to B2 Community Business District. Again, a first reading.
Okay.
This was from the public hearing, Your Honor. We did phrase this as denying the request because that was the recommendation of Planning Commission. If council would choose to approve the request, we can certainly make that change. But it was presented tonight after the recommendation of Planning Council.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe a supermajority of council is required to overturn a recommendation from Planning Commission on one of these?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, all right.
And a yes vote would be confirming their decision.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, last is 13th item, ordinance number O 2019-104, an ordinance amending various sections of the Middletown Development Code of the Middletown Codified Ordinances. Again, a first reading.
Okay. Now
This
it's
is
subject of
also
our
from the
public
public
hearing, yeah, very good. With that, we still need another executive session?
No.
No, very good. Well, with that, we'll be in recess to our next meeting in January 7th, 2020 in these chambers. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.